Hello there and welcome, my fellow adventurer. You're listening to the Travel Inspired podcast, or better yet, watching it on the Travel Inspired YouTube channel. We are your travel agent hosts and authors, Rob Kerri Stuart, coming to you from the CMV studio in beautiful Windermere, Florida. Now, if you're new to the show, CMV stands for our travel agency, Creating Magic Vacations. And this is episode number 166.
As we are now in January of 2026, we're going to look at some of the places that we traveled last year,
Yes.
and also some of the trends that we are seeing for 2026.
Our motto is, if you're going to travel, why not travel inspired?
And our goal here is to tell you about some amazing trips that we're taking. And of course, you are invited to join us. We have some really good ones coming up this year.
I know, and it really is better. We say this all the time. It really is better traveling with friends.
So let's look at some of our travel highlights from 2025.
Our first trip of the year, which is pretty much the first trip every year, that was mid-March, right around St. Patrick's Day, and that was a river cruise expo that started in Vienna, Austria. Although last year, we actually did go to Budapest a few days earlier because we were invited by our friends over at Riviera Cruises to go on one of their inaugural voyages. It was a short one. It was from Budapest to Vienna.
And then after the expo, then we did a 7-night sailing with about 5 of our Creating Magic Vacations travel agents and a few other friends. For this one, we cruised from Vienna to Wilshofen, which is in Germany. And that trip I thought was incredible, but it was also incredibly cold. March is not a good time for that.
We also learned that for the past, 10, 15 years, we've been pronouncing the city wrong. It's Wilshofen.
It is. It's Vil.
It looks like,
I say Wilshofen.
She still does.
I still do.
Wilshofen. We had such an amazing time hanging out with our agents. And this is, I think, one of the ultimate itineraries if you are a fan of churches.
I think that's anything in Europe.
that was the saying, ABC, another bloody church.
Another bloody church. Now, in late May, we did something really special, and that was a land tour in Alaska.
Yeah, so this was with Royal Caribbean, and it's exactly the experience you would do if you did a cruise tour with them, a combination.
Yeah, and we learned a lot about this, though, and also enjoyed traveling by a train in Alaska, seeing the interior, and visiting Denali National Park.
Oh, Denali.
So beautiful. And you can't do or see these places if you're only doing a cruise only to Alaska, which made me realize if you want to visit Alaska, the best way to do it to see the most of that state is a land and cruise tour.
Right. And there are so many different places to see on the land tour that it's not a one size fits all. And this is one of those places you definitely want to work with a travel agent on, because especially, and I'll say a travel agent that has done it, because there's nothing like describing it once you've been there, not just reading it from a brochure.
Yeah, huge difference. Now, another first for us in 2025, and I would say this was one of my top highlights, and it kind of surprised me a little bit because I did not ever have this on my must travel to, but this was our trip to a Montana dude ranch that was right next to West Yellowstone National Park.
Yes. So a special thanks to our friends Ann and Bob, who said, hey, we're doing this. You got to come with us. I'm like, let's do it. So I know the show is called Travel Inspired, but this trip was very, very inspiring. And I got to say, I actually loved it in Yellowstone, in the park itself. You couldn't get a cell phone signal.
No, not at all.
That was pretty cool.
And then I loved, we were staying at this dude ranch and we had our own individual cabins, and ours was not even 10 feet away from a creek that ran right next to it. And the views were beautiful. We rode horses. We did a lot of exploring. I loved this trip.
And the name of that is Parade Rest Ranch. They are like 10 minutes. They're technically in West Yellowstone, Montana, but they're 10 minutes from the entrance to Yellowstone. Another one of these favorite things. I can barely name a trip we've ever done where the room didn't have a TV.
Yeah.
The other one would be on the Amazon River. That was about 10 years ago. I also loved no heating.
Yep.
We had an actual wood burning stove, which we used a couple times because even in...
We were there in July, mid-July. It got cold.
It got cold in the morning. So, of course, we did a couple cruises to the Bahamas. That's obligatory. We've done these so many times this past year, but now that we do it, we really enjoy more of the ship experience. If we're going to Nassau, we really don't do anything. We call it, if it's a Disney cruise, we basically call it a liquor run. because with Disney, you can bring drinks back on.
Yeah.
The other
Just beer
cruise
and
lines,
wine, though. Beer and wine.
Beer and wine, yeah. The other cruise lines, not so much.
Yeah. But we did do 2 holiday cruises on Disney, though.
Yeah.
We did Halloween on the High Seas and the Very Merry Christmas Time sailing. Now, both were on different ships, so it was very different experiences. And the holidays are really fun. I really enjoyed that.
I like the Halloween one better because we were in concierge.
We were in concierge.
We also did the christening cruise on the Disney Destiny, which was really fun because it was the very first sailing. So if you listen to the Disney Travel Secrets podcast, our other show, you probably already know about that.
Yeah. So let's dive in to not just those fun trips, which maybe you got a little inspiration in. Well, of course, we forgot to mention we did visit Disneyland twice.
We did. Also, again, we're not trying to brag. We're trying to tell you this.
No, we're trying to tell you the places that you can go.
We're trying to inspire you.
Yeah.
Because this is what we do for a living.
I still, you know what, though? I still count all of our Disney World trips as well.
Like the one we're going on today.
Yes, like the one that we're going on today. Because, we're going there. And it's research, right? And that's what I call an occupational hazard.
It's also job security.
So,
you think you're traveling, you should travel, right? That's what they do. So what's in store for us for 2026?
Okay, right off the bat, again in March, we are headed to that Asta River Cruise Expo. This year, though, it is in Amsterdam. And this will be our 4th year in a row where we've gone to this conference. It's a really important one for our industry. And we will be staying on one of the Alma Waterway ships. And then after the conference, which is a 4-day conference, then we're going to do a short 3-day cruise from Amsterdam.
And normally, we wouldn't just do a 3-night cruise since we're going to be all the way over in Europe. However, just a few days after that 3-night cruise, we have to be in Marseille in France, southern France, for a 7-night cruise from Arles to Lyon.
And this is a trip that we earned as being one of the top producers out of like 5,000 agencies.
Yeah, just over that.
Yeah, with our travel partner called Travel Planners. I'm super excited for this cruise.
Yeah, we are very honored that we finished number 6 out of all those agencies. That was a huge accomplishment. And it's all because of our team. Our team of agents is just amazing. So here's what's pretty cool about this upcoming trip. This is the exact same cruise that we did for our very first river cruise in April of 2014. I cannot wait to go back to Arles because I remember this is where Vincent van Gogh painted his very famous Starry Nights. And the cafe where he painted it is still there, and the asylum that he was staying at the time.
Yeah, and then they also have this miniature Colosseum. It's very, very cool. And you really do feel the Roman influence in like Arles. Well, all of this route. And
it used to be the Roman Empire.
Yeah, it did. And I really feel like travel does make us like a little bit smarter, a little more appreciative.
I agree. There's no doubt about that. That travel does make you smarter. It also makes you understand how the world works, just not what we experience here in the U.S.
So we highly recommend that you take your kids on vacations outside the country, wherever that may be. And we just happen to love Europe.
Yes.
I know a lot of people do, but that's usually a good first place to go internationally outside of like the Caribbean and Mexico.
Yeah, everybody pretty much speaks English, so you're good to go.
Yep.
So next up in late April, we're flying into Budapest to cruise on the Alma Magna with some of our friends and clients. An itinerary we've done at least twice. And
3 times.
Okay, 3. And that is a 7-night cruise from Budapest to Vilshofen, Germany. Again, we've done this before. It is also our favorite river cruise ship so far, and that is the Alma Magna. And I'll say our favorite river, hands down, is the Danube.
Yeah, right? Because we are going on a new one at the end of July, a new ship. And we are headed for our first trip to Portugal. So we get to check off that country and our first cruise on the Douro River. And this one is very special because we own the majority of the inventory and we're going to be cruising with our business partner, Jen Lee. And she happens to be the godmother of the ship, which is Alma Sintra. And it did its first sailing in April of 2025. So it's going to have that new ship smell.
Already, I know.
Yeah.
I really want to try to squeeze in a cruise with Nat Geo / Lindblad, same company. We just say Nat Geo Lindblad. I want to go to the Galapagos Islands. Now, I'm sure we're going to do a couple cruises on Disney with our friends. Sometimes maybe it's a fun weekend getaway, specifically because we are now platinum status.
I know. We got to go experience platinum.
With the Castaway Club.
And you know what? We may even hop on an MSC cruise from Port Canaveral. They have some really great prices there and, simple itineraries. But I'd love to get back on their ship and just see how things are. We always have to be testing these products so that we can report back to you.
Yes, that's why we travel, is to report
Occupational
back.
hazard.
So heading into 2026 and beyond, here are some of the trends that we're seeing, and that the demand for small ship experiences is growing faster than we anticipated. And when we say small ships, we mean maybe 200 or less guests, maybe as many as 250-ish, but that's anything, past 500 is considered, a medium ship.
Yeah. So one of the shows that we love to watch is called Mighty Cruise Ships. You may have seen this. And back in the day, it was called Cruises We Love. They just mixed it up. And that's really what motivated us to start our own TV show on the CW in Tampa called All Aboard TV.
And we have many of those episodes that are on our YouTube channel, but not the travel inspired YouTube. All of those videos live over on the Disney Travel Secrets channel. That's where we have all of our videos. Some of them are the 30-minute shows we did. Some of them are the 7-minute segments we were doing for another TV show on the same network.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, we started our TV career as the travel TV host on a weekly TV show that did air on the CW network in Tampa. And really, this was just talking about things to do and places to go.
Well, I had a friend that worked there, and he introduced me to the GM of the station. And I said, you guys have a weekend show about what to do, in and around Tampa Bay in the area, but you have nothing about travel. And so he said, what should we do? What do you want to do? And we started with weekly 7-minute segments, eventually turned into a full 30-minute TV show with a 13-episode season.
That was a lot of work.
Oh, yes, it was. Disney even invited us to do a 30-minute show about Walt Disney World, specifically Epcot Food and Wine Festival. That was a completely different experience. Having Disney cast members escorting us to different places around the parks to film, that was really cool.
Yeah, and then Lufthansa hired us to do a show about their nonstop flight from Tampa International Airport to Frankfurt, Germany. That was an amazing experience. We flew first class. We even closed out that particular show with Rob sitting on the armrest of the co-pilot while the pilot was going through his checklist. It was a really cool experience.
That was also our first time going to Germany. What was really cool about this is, and this is kind of a funny story. We were in the Frankfurt airport, getting ready to take off, and we're in first class. We sat down, we're having a glass of champagne, and the head flight attendant comes up. She goes, Mr. Stewart. I'm like, yeah. She goes, the pilot wants to talk to you. I said, I just got here. I've been here like 5 minutes. It was not me. I was kind of laughing. And I went up, and the pilot's like, hey, I wanted to come up here and do some stuff. I'm like, do what? We're leaving. He goes, no. So I go back and get her, I go back and get my wife. She's got the camera. And he goes, okay, I want you to sit in the pilot's seat. I said, I'm pretty sure I'm not allowed to do that. He looked at me, he goes, Rob, I'm the captain. I'm like, oh, following captain's order. So I sit there. He goes, now hit some of those buttons. I said, I know I can't do that. He goes, they're not even on. So that made it part of the show. And at the end, she came back again. I knew, okay, we're going to the cockpit. And this time we landed in Tampa. And I just watched this literally this week. I was looking at the video. I'm still amazed that we got to do this. I was sitting there closing out the show. The co-pilot is like right over my right shoulder, and the pilot's there. And they're kind of looking at me, watching what I'm like, guys, stick to your checklist. I'll do the video part. Again, just a couple of the most amazing experiences we have from travel, and the things that we want you guys to experience, not going into the cockpit, but we love Germany.
And, when we're talking about some of the small ship experiences we mentioned, whether, it's a river cruise in Europe or maybe Southeast Asia or a cruise to the Galapagos or even Antarctica, those are super, super popular. But there is this incredible 5-masted sailing ship, and it goes pretty much through the Mediterranean, and then sometimes it comes down to the Caribbean.
Right.
We did that going from Venice to Rome.
Absolutely very, very memorable. And that fleet is called the Star Clippers fleet, and the ship is the Royal Clipper, the largest 5-masted sailing ship in the world. It even has a Guinness Book of World Record.
Okay. Now, that was an experience that we will never forget. And that we sailed on that, it was almost 11 years ago, back in 2015.
We're getting old.
And, what was really cool, though, is they invited us on board to film for our show. So that was a special experience for sure.
Well, imagine raising the sails, or the captain and the crew did, not us. As we're cruising down the Grand Canal in Venice, there's music playing and crowds on the shore cheering us on. That's an experience.
Yeah. Now, some of the other trends that we are seeing in 2026 is solo traveling is growing. More ships and tour operators are catering to this group. By what they're doing is they're reducing what's called a single supplement fee, or maybe they have cabins exclusive for solo travelers, like specifically Riviera Travel. They have some great solo cruises on the rivers in Europe.
Yeah. And we're seeing that travelers want more of an experience over just going to a destination. It's all, like I say, I hate this, but it's because of social media, also job security. They're seeing experiences that other people are doing from all over the world. And of course, they're seeing this online, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And they're like, that looks really cool. I want to do that.
Now, another trend that I have been seeing is wellness travel. And this one continues to grow year after year. So this is something like a cruise dedicated for people who they just want to be healthier. It's focused on exercise, maybe some adventure, food, longevity. They'll have seminars, they'll have guest speakers, they'll have group yoga in the morning. It's a big one.
It is. Well, group travel is really continuing to grow. And this includes one of the fastest growing segments is multi-gen travel. For example, your entire family, if it's really big, you could charter an entire ship in the Galapagos.
Yeah, it only takes 18 people.
Still a pretty big family.
Yeah, it is. Well, I come from a big family, so that's not very much. Groups with similar interests are also huge. So, for example, one of our travel agents, she has a run club that she belongs to. So she's doing a runner group cruise, and they're going to all cruise together. And then when they're in Cozumel, she's arranged for them to do a 5K, and they're raising money for charity from that cruise group. Very cool, right?
Now, there is one segment, and I would say it's probably mostly for river cruising, that really surprised me is that knitting. Yes, knitting is a huge niche market for that type of cruise. Niche, not a knit market.
That was bad.
It's a knit market.
Yeah, the categories everyone thinks about when it comes to these European river cruises typically are going to be wine, chocolate, and the Christmas markets. But those are great cruises and a great one to do with a group.
Another thing we love is seeing families giving the gift of experiences to their families and their kids over just buying things. So instead of throwing a big party for a 15th or 16th birthday, instead, take them on a trip.
And another trend, and this is something called single focus trips. And what I mean by this is that you build a trip around a single thing. It could be bungee jumping in New Zealand, or having a 5-star Michelin chef dining experience in Spain. So this is one goal, and then you build an entire trip around it. I remember we met, and this actually was the GM of the station that we were on. His name was Stan. And he said that his goal was to run on all 7 continents.
A marathon.
And it was to run a marathon. Yeah. And so he said, my last one was Antarctica, but there's a huge waiting list. So he built an entire trip just around that one thing that he wanted to do.
Well, and there are so many great experiences and places to see in 2026 and beyond. What do you have planned, or better yet, what's in your travel wallet? Okay, that's not a thing. Okay.
What's on your travel calendar?
So we're looking into 2027 already, and we plan to get a group together to all go and experience the Galapagos. Although, if time permits, we might do it later this year.
I know. Well, we need to do a preview so that we can go and experience it, and then we come back and we bring a group with us.
That's what I meant.
Wherever you do want to go, we can help get you there, and we would love to help you plan it. It's pretty simple. First, subscribe to our show, Travel Inspired, so you don't miss a future episode, because we have a great lineup of amazing destinations, cruise lines, and travel partners that we are bringing to you in 2026.
And then reach out to us or one of our Creating Magic Vacations travel advisors. Also, be sure to follow us on Instagram. Both Kerri and my accounts are going to be in the show description. We can't wait to bring you along with us on our 2026 adventures.
And remember that travel is always better with friends.
And this year, let's collect passport stamps and not things. Remember this? Our motto, never stop exploring.